Coaching conversation. Coaching conversation. Coaching conversation. Coaching conversation.
Yay! Welcome to Coaching Conversations, where we provide a platform to amplify and listen to the voices of women, especially Black women, because y'all need to listen up. It's been too long, and y'all need to listen up. So anyway, I'm Jamie Alilaw. I am a coach. I'm an opera singer. I am an educator. I am an entrepreneur. And I am just overall a ball of curiosity and an advocate for the empowerment of women. So this is something that was born earlier during these here shelter in place times, born of this, I came across one of my Facebook memories this morning where I was just gushing about the women in my life. And this was from 2018. And I'm like, it still stands. I have some amazing women who challenge me, who feel me, who encourage me, even just by watching them from afar. And so I was like, y'all, I keep telling you about these women that I have encountered, and I'm gonna need y'all to hear and to see and to know these women. So the woman I have today, I'm really excited about having her because this is actually our first time like meeting face to face, voice to voice. But she and I are coaching colleagues. And when I look at her news feed, I was just telling her, I'm like, sis, go all the way off because she is no holds barred, truth teller, light shiner, fire bringer, and does it from such a place of love and connection, and with such a rooted and grounded knowledge of herself that is contagious and is very clear. So I want to welcome Miss Tasha Christy to Coaching Conversations.
Hi.
Hello. It is my pleasure to have you. And I just want to tell the people a little bit more about you and what you got going on. As you can see, she is energetic marketing coach. So Tasha, I'm gonna read this I'm gonna read this bio to give you all some context for who we're listening to on today. So Tasha Christy is an energetic marketing strategist and thought leader mentor. After spending a few years implementing personal development principles into her own life and creating powerful content that grew her brand and exploded her impact, she decided that she needed to start helping others to do the same. Tasha combines different energetic elements such as metaphysics, which I'm here for it, human design, and embodiment work with content creation and marketing strategy to help people in the online expert space step into the full embodiment of their leadership so that they can market their businesses powerfully and make a huge impact in the world. In addition to all of her experience in personal development and online marketing, Tasha also completed a year-long training program in ontological coaching and leadership in 2018. So Tasha is out here blessing the people is basically what I read from from that.
Yeah.
Welcome, Tasha.
Nice to be here.
So as I have mentioned, just from my observation of you, I have observed you to be a truth teller and light shiner, and just real, just foundationally, groundedly real. So Tasha, I read your bio in the work that you've done. And actually, you and I completed the same ontological training program, not at the same time, but we completed the same program.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to share with us, anything else you would want us to know about you that might not, be read in the bio, but that that we should know.
Personal or professional, or just whatever.
Everything, whatever you want to share.
I'm also I guess a mom. I inherited kind of sort of my goddaughter when my grandmother passed away. So that's a recent thing that's happened in my life where, I've assumed the kind of primary caregiver role. And she's 7 right now. So I was always involved in her life because I am her godmother, but I was away. I lived all over the place. Like I lived in DC, I lived in New York City for a while, I lived in Dubai for a little while. So in moving back here last year, I moved back here. That's kind of what happened. My grandmother transitioned, and then I ended up kind of taking over for where she was. What else? I love human design. Like recently, over the last I'd say year, and that's actually become the primary tool that I use to work with clients and really helping them to step into who they were designed to be. It's really, really helpful. It's actually a game changer. So, if that's something that you're really interested in, either learning more about human design and or, integrating it into how you market your business, then I'm the person for that.
So first you were saying that you've lived everywhere and that you're back here. Where are you located?
I'm in Louisiana now. That's where I'm from. Yeah.
Right. And we had to reschedule because the tropical storm was acting up.
It knocked out our power for like 3 days. Like it was not the time either. Like because the week before that, it had been cool. Like, the weather was cool. It's fall here. So in the South, the fall it's not like in the Northeast where it's cold over there. But over down here, it's still warm, like summer. You know what I'm saying? So the week before that, there was a cool front that kind of came through. And then the next week it was back hot. It was back in the 80s, and then the power went out. So it was not.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we had, the little girl wanted her electronics. She couldn't use, all her stuff. So that she was bored. And then we had my little nephew. My sister recently had a baby, and so we had him too with us. So it was a lot going on.
Oh Lord! Well, we are glad that you are here. That you are here.
Yeah.
And that y'all are doing well. So you dropped human design, and actually, I was introduced to the concept of human design through your posts. So I didn't know about it before. So can you share just a little bit about what human design is and how you use it?
Human design it's like a mixture of different modalities, but it basically tells you based on your birth date, your birth time, and your location, your geographical location, a lot of things about you. And so it basically is separated into 5 human design types. There is manifestor, manifesting generator, projector, and reflector. So that piece of information alone, like there's a lot more, but that basic piece of information will tell you a lot about how you're supposed to move in the world. And so it's a game changer when you decide to implement it.
So it sounds a lot. I mean, it
It's a
uses
lot
the
like
same
astrology.
Yeah, I was gonna say it uses the same information as your birth chart. And
Mhm.
it's funny because I was inspired like a month ago. Like I want to have my chart read because I over the past couple of years I have really gotten expanded my interest in astrology because I recognize that hello, the universe, the moon affects the tides and
Yeah.
the water, and we mostly water. Like,
Mhm.
so hello, there's a relationship. So it's strengthened my curiosity, and then I was like, let me get my chart read. And so I had a colleague who is well versed and well learned. He was reading my chart, and he was offering some coaching around that. I was like, okay, astrology coach, and he said, I'm gonna use that. And so it sounds very similar, right? To be able to tap into, all of these aspects
Mhm.
that really went into making you,
Yeah.
or went into, that were in play when you were being
You were
born.
born. Yeah.
And you listed these different categories. So manifester, generating manifester. What are the other
Manifesting
ones?
generator.
Manifesting generator. Okay. And then what are the other ones?
Generator. Then just regular generator. And
Uh-huh.
then projector. And then reflector.
Okay. So we're talking about showing up as a leader
Mhm.
during these uncertain times, right?
Mhm.
Because clearly
Yeah.
nothing is the same. Like
Nothing was
everybody
the
keeps
same.
joking. Like this was not on your vision board, people.
No.
This was
That's
not
what it is. No.
this was not on
Not
the
what I
vision board.
anticipated. Yeah.
And also, right, as ontological coaches, we know that it's all about how you're being around
Yep.
everything, right? And
Exactly.
that, as to not be, I mean, we can choose to be victimized by it, right? And
Mhm.
also we can see opportunity in it.
Yes.
So, and I've seen you post a few times, like, you know, there are some people who are winning right now,
Yeah. There are quite a
right?
few. Yeah.
And and so tell us, I guess, how this how human design and just your work in general is really able to speak to people, especially in a time when, I mean, everything that's showing up for us, I mean, it's reasonable that people
Mhm.
are scared, right? It's
Yeah.
reasonable, it's understandable that people, feel like their whole plan is off track.
Mhm.
So, what is it about human design, having this information, and really the work that you do that helps to empower people to tap into their leadership, even in a time that looks like it looks counterintuitive?
Mm. Well, I mean, human design allows me to be able to personalize the advice in the and or coaching that I, offer to people. So if I know somebody is a generator, 5'2", and that, like, those two elements and emotional authority, I know what to tell them, how their marketing should be. And so human design allows me to help them to tap into who they are at their essence, basically who they were designed to be at birth, and then run with that. A lot of times I find, because of conditioning, people are not actually being who they were born to be. They're not, like, so that in ordinary times people are dealing with that. So
Right.
now you have the pressure of the regular conditioning on top of all the societal stuff that's going on. So people are really scared, like they don't want to say the wrong thing. They're afraid that people don't have money to buy their services. Like, all this stuff is going on right now. So it just really helps me to tap into who they are and help them to reconnect with that.
I mean, it's like you said, even outside of Rona times,
Mhm.
it's a scary prospect to be real.
Yeah. And to
And
be
it's funny because
vulnerability is something that people really I find struggle with, because they're always afraid of, being called out, or, what if I say the wrong thing and somebody thinks this about me, or what if, I'm too vulnerable and then people think I can't do my job, that kind of thing. So I think vulnerability is something that, in general people struggle with. And tapping into your human design allows you to be able to fully lean into that and show up in a way where, you're vulnerable. You let people know, like I do that all the time. I tell people about stuff that I'm struggling with, but I feel like I do it in such a way that I still maintain my level of leadership. Like I'm not doing it, but like I'm not using my audience as a counselor, or a therapist. Like it's just more so like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And that doesn't mean that I can't still show up for you, type of thing.
well, I mean, so that's a really valid point, right? Because when we're talking about showing up as leader, and you know, oftentimes, like if you are self-employed, or if you are, if you hold a managerial position or something like that, I feel like culturally we are taught, the antithesis of vulnerability, right? Like, that strength equals, or that leadership equals strength,
and having
vulnerability equals weakness.
Yeah.
Right. So this, I'm hearing it as balance, that you're able to create between vulnerability and really honesty.
Yeah.
Right. But also, that I hear this human design, which I also see with, just with knowledge, more complete knowledge of yourself. I hear it as permission, really, to be all aspects
of who you are. Yep.
And also to choose to do according to who you are, rather than
according to the conventional, advice that you're getting from everywhere. Because I do know that the advice, that I give people, or or the coaching, because like I weave in ontological coaching with it too. I do know that it's unconventional. Like it's not what most people are telling people to do. But most people don't really have an intricate understanding of human design. So they may know business and marketing, and they may know what worked for them and, a certain segment of their clients. But since they don't have insight into that modality and using it a certain way, like it's hard to personalize something for somebody when you don't know who they are really, other than what they're telling you. Like I can look at somebody's chart and know a lot of stuff about them just based on their chart. And so, a regular marketing coach may tell you, you need to launch the same thing over and over and over for 90 days, for example. That's the typical advice you get from people. But if you're a manifesting generator, you will probably get bored after a couple of weeks of talking about the same thing. And then you're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do now? Like, if I don't launch it again, that means XYZ about me, so that kind of that might leave you stuck, like not knowing what to do next, because you're hearing the advice over here, but it's not really working for you. Like, okay, I launched this already. I'm kind of getting bored. What do I talk about now? Type of thing. Whereas I wouldn't advise an MGR generator, for that matter, to keep launching the same thing over and over, like without a break. Like breaking things up is good. Like if you want to have the same program launching over, and like if you have a signature program, for example, that's good. But it's like I need a little break in between to do something else, to talk about something else, because we just get bored after our attention span is short and we have a lot of different things going on. Whereas a projector, A projector could actually, they could either launch over and over again, or I recommend that they do like more of an evergreen thing where they have kind of like a program that's always open, and then they kind of just bring people in, because that way they don't have to do these big launches that zap all their energy, you know? So that's two totally different, you know, an MG and a projector, that's two totally different energies that we're dealing with. And so the advice will be, you know, the coaching for them would be different and wouldn't be the same. Whereas if you go cookie cutter program, you know, that person is just going to give everybody the same advice because they know that's all they know that works. Yeah.
So I want to invite people who are watching to go ahead in the comments, drop any questions that you have for Tasha, for me, questions around human design, around marketing coaching, around vulnerability and being real in these streets. Just, you know, whatever questions or comments, you know, maybe you've heard something that you know, sparked a realization for you. But I want to invite you to go ahead and put it in the comments. Oh snap! I had a question that came up for me around, and then I did my little spiel.
No.
Oh no! Wait, it's gonna come. So, how does somebody find out their human design?
Well, you need your 3 pieces of information: your birth date, your birth location, and your birth time. The time in particular needs to be, you know, as specific as possible. And because it's actually by the hour and by the minute. So it's not just like, oh, I was born around 12 o'clock. No, like you need to know the specific time, you know, up to the minute that you were born, AM, PM, because that does make a difference. And then you go, like, there are a couple of, I use Genetic Matrix, but I have their paid account. So, because obviously I do this for a living, so I didn't mind investing in, you know, their paid membership, and so it gives me all kinds of information about the people. But if you know, you're just starting out with this, I like My Body Graph is another tool that I use. I think Genetic Matrix allows you to pull one chart though, for free. So either one of those places you can go to get a free chart, and then, you know, My Body Graph gives you some information about each element. It does a little bit, not a lot, but enough for you to kind of know. Like it'll tell you whether you're a generator, you know, what your type is. It'll tell you your authority, and it'll tell you, you'll see what centers are defined or open, stuff like that. It'll know your profile, and it'll show you like the channels that are, you know, defined, undefined on your chart, stuff like that. So you'll get, yeah.
So hold up. Marsha said this is dope. So hold on. You said it'll tell you your authority. So listen, I'm Miss Empowerment Coach. Okay. So when you throw out terms like authority, you know, what does that mean in regards to human design, and what does that mean in regards to your leadership ability and how you put that out there?
Well, your authority, is your intuition, basically. It's your decision.
Yes.
So if, for example, I'm an emotional authority. So what happens with me is that, you know, I have emotional waves. Like some days I'm feeling, you know, really good, and some days something may have happened and I feel, you know, either, you know, some way low, right? And I have days where I'm just even tempered. You know, so what that means for me is that when I need to make a big decision, I don't make immediate, in the moment, quick decisions, because I may be feeling a certain type of way at the time, and then I make decisions that are obviously influenced by my emotions, which are not stable. And so like the shadow part of the emotional authority is to like not trust the now moment. So you can't really trust whatever decisions and feelings you have in the moment because they fluctuate. And so like that's just an example of authority, but basically there are 9 authority types, and it's basically your decision making intuition. So you have that tells you how you can make big decisions in your life so you can be on the right path. Because the problem is a lot of times, you know, in our society, and this particularly in our industry, we have a lot of different, you know, notions about how we should do things, you know, and there's no one way. Like, for example, taking fast action is something that, you know, we often say in our industry. But, you know, if you're an emotional authority, you know, and if somebody's on the phone asking you if you're going to invest in something and you're feeling really good because, you know, during the call they manipulated your emotions, you know what I'm saying, and you make the decision right then and there, like, oh hey, you know, I'm going to buy this, and then you buy it, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh my god, like I can't believe I just did this, you know, and then you're trying to figure out what to do. So that's the important thing about your authority. It basically tells you how to make decisions. So decision making becomes easy for you the more you lean into it. The only problem is obviously there's conditioning. So a lot of times people they don't want to do that. They just, you know, they want to use their head to make all the decisions, and really the brain, for the most part, that's not what it's designed for. You make decisions usually from the body. So yeah.
I mean, this is just so in line with, you know, I my passion is certainly for women, and my and in, you know, this acknowledgement that the feminine attributes have just been so neglected and suppressed and oppressed and, you know, invalidated, right?
Yeah.
And so that when you talk about this notion of the authority being an intuitive decision making, right? And rather than this, you know, mental exercise, it's really an intuitive thing in the body. You know, when I talk about feminine, it's beyond gender, right? But it's really, like you said, that intuitive element, but in a patriarchal, misogynistic society, right? We exalt, you know, that action and like you said, that fast decision making and, you know, the mind and, you know, all of these different things. And it's like we're really missing out on this true power that the intuition provides us in every aspect of life, how we show up, right? So you're talking about, you're working with people in the realm of marketing, you know, around business, which is an area we usually view through a very masculine lens. And what I hear you saying is like, we are getting in touch with our intuition and how that intuition speaks in order to inform the decisions that we're making.
Definitely.
Child, I'm telling, listen. We need to listen to women without. We need to listen to the feminine within us all. Boy, I tell you, to get this balance back in our world and just even within ourselves, right?
Definitely.
Like this notion of you know, and you're talking about in the realm of marketing again. That's your expertise, you know, and even just in terms of just with all business. You know, really being willing to release that conditioning that says this is the way. This is the right way.
Go. And if you don't do it like this, then you're never gonna be successful. Like that's basically what they tell you. Like it's not, and that's not true.
So as a coach, I don't know the quality of this question right now. It's just kind of coming up. But as a coach, how do you support us in releasing these narratives that don't support us, releasing these ways of being around, the stuff that we've been told, like, oh, this is what you got to do. How do you as a coach support us in releasing that?
Well, basically, in the beginning, I usually start off with people. A lot of times I get people in the beginning who've had a lot of like marketing, coaching. They've taken, a lot of online business courses. And so they come to me with all of this stuff like around how they're supposed to market. But in the beginning, we usually acknowledge that it doesn't feel good. Like, does this feel good to you? Like, are you enjoying this? Do you love showing up and talking to people about your business? No. I don't really, like doing this. And then what I do is I help them to understand their own human design. And then now they know why it doesn't work. They know why, okay, this wasn't feeling right for me, or they know why I was trying to do it this way, but it wasn't really working. Things weren't really moving, and then after that, we pretty much change their whole situation, like change their whole plan and how they go about doing their business. And I often tell people that it's an embodiment that needs to take place. It's one thing to know about your human design and to know, okay, I'm a generator, I'm an MG, I'm a projector. I find projectors in particular struggle really hard with embodying their strategy, which is to wait for an invitation, because it's totally opposite to what we are taught we're supposed to do. We're taught to initiate, basically, send cold messages to people in their DMs, inviting them to our services, like asking, constantly offering programs without seeing whether or not it actually is what people want from us, that kind of thing. And so if you're type, the only people who can actually really do that and make that work are manifestors. And manifestors, I find, struggle with that. Like, they're usually the ones asking people for feedback, and I'm like, well, you don't have to do that. You just need to put it out there, So it's that, like, just really orienting them to who they are. Like, that's what we start with. And then, okay, how are you going to implement this? And, depending on what the package is, like if it's an intensive, then, I help them create a plan that they're going to, implement on their own. And, or if it's like a one-on-one client, or in a group program or something, they'll have my guidance, my accountability, my expertise along the way to help them implement this, because it's a deconditioning process that needs to take place. So it's usually not super easy for people to do it on their own. I mean, some people have, but it's not often that a person doesn't have to come back to me and, and say, oh, well, I tried to do your plan and this is what we agreed on. This is what I want to do. But this is where I'm having, some difficulty. I'm looking at this person over here who's doing it the way that everybody, they're being taught to do it. And, I see that they're, doing the thing, and I'm over here trying to do it the way that we, I'm designed to do it. And if things are not moving as fast as I want it to move, because I tell people that in the beginning, it's not going to be, usually it's not a wham bam thank you ma'am, like I'm going to get this and then I'm going to go and do it one time and then everything is just going to explode. No, like, it's an embodiment, it's a practice, it's an integration period that needs to happen. And you being patient with that and be going with the flow and, doing the thing is, really, really super important when it comes to integrating a modality like this that's not common, So
I hear the first step is to acknowledge that what you're doing doesn't work because it doesn't feel good, because it ain't you.
It's not working. Or it may be working. Like, I do get people who, are at the 10, 15, 20K month part in this scale, part in their business, but they're either struggling to like make more money, without working, like themselves to the bone. Or, they're like, they're in a position where they want to become thought leaders. They want to step into the thought leader, captain of their industry thing. So it's not good enough for them. Like, okay, yeah, great. I'm making 10, 15, 20K a month, but like nobody knows who I am except for my clients.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the person who everybody recommends when, some people are asking, for my thing. Nobody's tagging me. Nobody's saying, oh, well, this person over here is great. That kind of thing. So they want that kind of recognition and that kind of like, I'm a leader in my industry type of thing. So like it could be that. It's not necessarily always like, I don't always get the people who aren't getting clients. It's usually the people who are getting clients, but they're like, okay, well, I want this too. I want it to be easier. Like, how am I going to get past 20K a month without working my ass off? I can't see, it happening for me any other way. And they're starting to get burnt out. They're not super excited to show up and talk about their business as much because the marketing piece is either boring or exhausting or, something like that.
And I imagine that could be even more challenging. We'll go to this question in a second, but I imagine that could be even more challenging if you've been, for the client who has been seeing some success with what they've been doing, right? Because it's like, I don't want to do this anymore, but I got to keep doing this if I want to keep being successful. But I don't want to keep doing this anymore, but I can't let it go, but I don't want to.
I mean, there's obviously a fear that, if I stop the machine from going, then no more money, like people are just going to stop, working with me, or people are not going to know who I am. Like, and I have to tell them, no, like, that's not actually what's going to happen. What usually happens, because you already have all the stuff in place. Like, you have an audience, you already have people who are buying from you. You already, you know enough about marketing to show up and do whatever. It's more so you just tweaking it, to be more in alignment with, what would make you feel really good and satisfied. And being like, and that's another thing, like, I'm shifting the beliefs around what's required for success is another thing that I work with clients on, and then them just accepting that in this moment right now, I am worthy of love, joy, relaxation, pleasure, fun. Like, it gets to be that way right now. Like, I don't have to get a certain level of success. Like, I don't have to reach $100,000 a month before I can actually just relax and chill out. Like, I can do that now. You can do that at $0 a month. If you're at the point in your business right now where you're not making anything, you still it doesn't have to be drudgery in order for you to be successful. So that's another thing I work with people. And that's where the ontological piece comes in. A lot of times it's like around who they're being about stuff. We shift that and then, obviously add the piece about the human design.
El Michelle said yes to all of those because my head is nodding. Like, I mean, and you said it, you brought it in because it's like, really, it's your relationship to your business, your relationship to marketing, your relationship to success, your relationship to your worthiness, right? Like, to the life that you get to live. And when culturally, societally, we've said that, the 1% are the only ones who get to experience this. And it's like, nah. We flipping the script. So I want to go back to that question that Marsha asked. She said, I may have missed this, but how do we find out the info? Like, where's the link? So what I would like for you to share, Tasha, is one, reshare the information about the general human design, and then also share with us how people can connect with you, because this is the thing. Like, this is not like, we can put tools and things out there all day, every day, right? But like you said, this is really a process of unlearning and shifting relationships, with which as coaches we know this is not a one-hit quitter. This is not, one of those things like, oh, I've got this little thing, now my life will be transformed. So this is really about having these tools in conjunction with the support of somebody who is going to be there with you. So share with us, where can people go to get this general human design information, and then how can people get connected with you?
Okay. So like I said, you can go to either geneticmatrix.com. And what I'm gonna do after the video's over, I'll go back in the comments and link some of those, like the places where you can go and you can get that'll give you a general human design chart. I really like them because they're very accurate. But also My Body Graph is mybodygraph.com is another good place to go. And to get your chart, and that way you can pull it. And then I have access to My Body Graph too. Like I do use both. Now I'm mostly using Genetic Matrix because I pay for it. But when I first started, I started out using My Body Graph, and it's pretty accurate. Like sometimes there's, some things like where the dates and stuff will be off, but I found them to be 99% of the time accurate. So though I would recommend those two places to go to pull your chart. And then if you want, like I do readings, I do individual readings, and as well as like I offer intensives, and then I do one-to-one stuff, and I'm going to be relaunching my group program probably in another couple of months. I just tell people to come, and request me on Facebook, my personal Facebook page. That's where I do a majority of my marketing. I also have Instagram, at Human Design with Tasha. But I haven't started putting stuff on there yet. Like I plan to, but I haven't, done a lot with that yet. But you can still follow me because things will be coming. I think I'm gonna use Instagram for videos and do funny stuff with stories and stuff like that. Whereas Facebook is mostly writing. Like I mostly do a lot of writing and posting and stuff like that, sharing, and I do laser coaching posts. So I tell people, if you want to kind of get a taste of what I do, to be on the lookout for those laser coaching posts. I let them go on for probably way too long. And then I answer everybody's questions, based on, you put a screenshot of your chart and ask me a question, and then I answer it, based on the information I have from your chart. Now, the difference between something like that and then paying for a reading is, during a reading, I go through pretty much almost every major element in your chart, and I give you insights on your particular business. Like if you you come to me and you tell me, oh, this is what I'm struggling with when it comes to marketing, and I have your chart, I can tell you, give you advice based on what I can see from your chart. But plus, I can also ask you follow-up questions and hey, how does this feel? Like all that stuff, I can't do that during a written laser coaching post. So yeah.
So I didn't know that you offer those readings. So we will talk after this.
Okay. Okay.
We will definitely talk. Marsha said she just followed you on IG.
Okay. Thank you.
Because I'm just saying, sis, be ready for the inbox action. Because we are really, this is the time that we are in. Like this stuff is just really, really, really resonating. And I think it's beyond just the fear that has struck a lot of people, and the flailing. I think it's beyond the flailing. I think that we are really in a time where people are hungry to know more of who we truly are, right? Taking off the mask, taking off the costumes. Well, I mean, wear your mask when you go out in public. Taking off the stuff to really get a deep knowledge of who we are. And folks are tired of just working. People are wanting to be operating in our purpose, right? So that is really, 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 so this is so timely. And, I see Michelle over here said there are no conditions in joy and happiness, finding those wherever you are, right? Like just because you are here in physical form makes you worthy of joy and happiness. Like that's a given.
Yep.
From jump.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I feel like we were on a roll when we were talking about, oh gosh, listen, I'm getting out of my lane. Like I said, I've got my, we got Marsha. I mean, not Marsha, Malika. I looked at Marsha's name. We've got Malika as the production assistant, and I'm over here in her business. So let me get out of her lane. Let me get out of her lane because she's doing an amazing job. And let me get back focused over here with you. So let's talk about actually, and this is just me being selfish now, right? Like I want some more information. Let's talk about these readings that you do. And so you said that you'll get a chart and you will, you'll engage with the chart and engage with the person that you're talking to, and will offer, insights into their business, coaching practice. I mean, not coaching, marketing practices. And such. You talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So for example, I had one a couple of months ago, and she is like a personal stylist, but she uses like different, like the elements to help people, figure out what they are going to wear, what's in alignment with them. And so she was telling me that, she finds that she was tired of writing the long form marketing posts. And if I remember correctly, she's a manifesting generator. So she has a defined throat center. So I told her, I said, why don't you, for a month, 30 days, just do this. And if, you don't, whatever, just use your voice. Go live. If you want to write, then do the little short posts that kind of get engagement. But like the long form marketing posts, that might not be having the same effect, because I mean, speaking is your thing. Like when people hear your voice, they want to move, and they want and tugs at the emotions. They want to take action. So just focus on that. Like that's another thing I do during the readings. Just in general, I don't advise people be all over the place doing all the things. Like you could pick one mode of marketing your business and just do that over and over and over again. Like if you want to go live, she did that. For 30 days, she just went live, like almost every day, every other day. And then she came back later and told me that she booked out like one of her programs because she, from her lives, just because I told her, to do that. And to stop worrying about, like, just because they say you're supposed to write these long form marketing posts, that doesn't mean that it's the truth. Like it's not in alignment with your chart and what you're supposed to be doing. So don't do it. So it's like giving yourself permission to do marketing your way, and be successful at that. So like that's what the readings are. It's like I go deep into the chart. So like people get a lot of like they either get confirmation or they get a clear understanding of why things aren't working out the way they want them to, or they get like it's confirmation, like, okay, I knew this wasn't feeling right for a reason. Like I knew in my soul I wasn't supposed to be doing XYZ. And so the reading is like a confirmation of that. So people usually walk away with, a lot of clarity, a lot of confirmation, a lot of more confidence in what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to move. Yeah.
Dang, like I said, I followed you on Facebook, and I was already blessed by your post. But I'm like, dang, I didn't even realize that that you were doing all of this. What brought you into this realm of human design and marketing even?
Well, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, I started working with a coach. She had a group program, and at the time she wasn't really into human design, but I think she was starting to dabble in it. And then the next year, that was 2018. And then in 2019, early 2019, she really got deeply into it. And she was like, oh, I have reading, do you want a reading? And so I went and I did a reading with her, and I got a lot of insight. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Just leave. Is he sleeping? I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay, that's fine. All right. I'm sorry, my nephew is here.
No problem.
So I worked with her on that, and then she gave me information about my chart. I don't remember if I actually did anything with it. I think I just kind of I was like, okay, cool. This is what I'm supposed to do. I think I kind of didn't believe her when she was like, oh, you're a generator. You're supposed to just enjoy life, and things are gonna come to you. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Whatever. And so later on,
and here I go in your inbox, like,
yeah,
hey, random lady
yeah,
over here,
exactly.
random lady here, can you come?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I ended up working with her one-to-one for a couple of months. And that's when I started to like really integrate it but I was integrating it with the content creation because that's what I'm really good at. So, I just naturally started, responding, in my posts, and I noticed people started to engage. Posts started to be shared and liked by, sometimes hundreds of people. And I'm like, okay, so this is working. Toward the end of 2019, I leaned into it. I was like, okay, well, I'll just integrate, more parts. Like I'll start trying to figure out, how to create an offer, in response, because I'm a generator. So that's my strategy. I'm going to figure out, just different things, different aspects of my life. I started kind of applying human design to it. And then I was like, okay, this is working. Like it started working a little bit, moving along. Da, da, da. And so in 2020, that was January, I was like, well, maybe, I got a book that she recommended, the same coach recommended that I get. And so I got it and I started reading about it on my own, like just the whole thing. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And since I was already integrating with myself and I saw that, it was working, I was like, okay, well, maybe I can, use this with clients. Still, I'm overall metaphysical. So I know about I use the laws of the universe and all that kind of stuff anyway. And so in doing that, I was already doing, like thought leadership at the time, which was basically marketing, but I wasn't calling it that. Messaging, marketing, stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can do some readings. So I did a couple of readings for free, because I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm either going to like doing this, or whatever. And so I did a couple of them and people were like, oh my God, this is amazing. You're really good at this, So I did those. And then one time I posted on Facebook just randomly because I was so excited because I did one where it was like 3 hours. And so it was long enough. It was an intensive. So it was long enough for me to really integrate, different elements, like I could I could do ontological coaching. I could do, metaphysics over here. I could do human design over here. And so it was long. I was so excited about it that I just posted, I just did a human design reading with somebody and they had amazing results, not thinking that I was actually promoting it because I wasn't, I did it for him for free. And then somebody, people started commenting on it. And then somebody was like, oh, I saw all the comments. And I was like, oh, well, maybe if I sold one, for 111, like if, when people buy it. So I put in the comments, like, oh, if you want a human design reading from me, it's 111. Well, then like 10 minutes, somebody messaged me and was like, oh, I want to sign up for your reading. And it just went from there. I didn't, because I was dabbling in it, late 2019 going into 2020. And I started asking questions like in Facebook groups. I was like, oh, what do you think about human design, and marketing? Like if somebody can help you, market your business according to your human design, would you be interested? And I got like 50 to 100 comments, you know, on a couple of questions I asked related to human design and marketing. So I was like, oh, okay, this is a sign from the universe, you know. And so I responded, you know, to the sign. I just kept going and kept adding, and it just kind of ballooned from there. And I mean, how I got into marketing, I would say that I started out in online business in about 2016. And one of the things I was always good at marketing. Like I was always good at, you know, coming up with topics to talk about. I was always good at, I would get discovery sessions. I would post one thing in a Facebook group back in the day when they allowed you to do that and get 20 discovery sessions just from that one post. You know, so it's like I love writing, you know, I love engagement. And then the leadership part came in, you know, from ontological coaching training. Like that's something I got really into that. So I was like, okay, you know, thought leadership, helping people to show up powerfully, you know, and stuff like that. But in 2020, I decided to step into marketing. Because before I was like, oh, I'm an embodiment coach and I just help you. You know, the result is like marketing, you know. But in 2020, I was like, okay, you know, this is what I'm meant to do. And so I'm going to step into it. So I started declaring I'm a marketing coach. I can help you with marketing your business. I can help you get clients. I can help you thus obviously make more money, you know, whereas before I was hesitant to say that I could help people get those results because I don't know. I was just like, well, you know, what if I can't? You know, what if, you know, whatever. The stuff that we kind of ask ourselves when we're struggling to step into who we're designed to be. But in 2020, I just went for it. I was like, well, you know, I mean, what do I have to lose? You know? So.
Especially in 2020.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I keep telling people like 2020, honey, you better get every lesson, every guidance, every morsel that this year has to offer, because you do not want to go through 2020 and come out the other side the same.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to come out the same. Dang, Tasha, this has been wonderful. I mean, I knew it would be, but you know, when you be on the other side of it, it's like, I'm feeling good. I'm excited about this reading that I'm finna sign up with you. And I'm so serious.
I thought about and I don't advertise. Like people usually come to me and like say, oh, you know, do you do readings? And I thought about just advertise, like letting people know more often, like, hey, I do, by the way, I do readings. Like it's not, because a lot of times people, like I do offer like master classes and workshops and stuff like that. But a lot of times I know people are like, I just want to do it one-on-one. You know, so I do for, you know, everybody, if you don't know, I do offer readings, individual readings. They're 90 minutes. You know, and at this point I charge $5.55 for them. And so, you know, because I come highly recommend it. A lot of the times people are like, oh, you know, I'm saving up for your reading, da da da. And, you know, I just really enjoy doing them. And I find that people come and do that, and then they're like, oh, you know, this is amazing, and let me go, you know, and implement the stuff you said. And when they actually implement, they get results. So
yeah. I mean, just from hearing you talk about it, you know, and just your knowledge and your passion around it, it's very clear. It's very clear that it's working.
Yeah.
So, Tasha Christy. You can follow her on IG at Human Design with Tasha. You can friend her on Facebook. Yep, Marsha said totally worth it. For sure. No, you know, I just shared this post with what's that girl's name? Shonda Rhimes. You know, she left ABC and she left because they was tripping on her, giving her a pass for her sister to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And it's like, how foolish of them that she knew, you know, and somebody asked her, don't you have enough?
Mm-hmm.
And from her knowledge of who she is, she's like, nope, they don't see my value. We're about to take it over to
I
this
mean,
place.
she's made these people millions of dollars. I mean, what do you
Yeah. I was like,
take it to Disney? Come on now.
even if you can't give her the free one, somebody go buy Shonda's sister a pass.
You like, come on now.
It's tripping. So moral of the story is when you know your value,
Yeah.
can't nobody come to you with nothing else crazy.
Yep.
So Tasha, thank you so much for rescheduling and for being here on Coaching Conversations. Is there anything you want to leave the people with?
I would say that, during these times, I mean, to be honest, a lot of the stuff is not new. Certain things are not new. Like, it's like the whole Black Lives Matter thing, like that's been going on. I know it's new to some people, but it's not new to us. But just, this is the time to really lean in. I know it's really a scary time. I know it's an uncertain time, but it's a time to really lean into who you are and to really step out and be brave. Like that may put you, make you vulnerable to certain criticism. I mean, shit, I say all kinds of stuff. And I've gotten to the point where I don't care. If you don't like it, I tell people, unfriend me, unfollow me, block me, do whatever you feel like you need to do. But I'm also a 5'2". Like, that's a whole nother, like, my profile in human design, I'm a disruptor. So that 5 piece, like, the more I lean into that, the more my voice, is amplified. So yeah, that just be bold and be brave and be willing to step out there and speak your truth, even if it's controversial, even if people don't like you. And because that's what will make you stand out as a leader. Like, people will either like you or they won't like you. You don't want them to be indifferent. Like, when people are lukewarm, about your message, that's when like, it needs to be amped up or something, So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Tasha. Yeah, 2020, the year of 2020 vision. You got to get clear on either side.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Tasha, for joining us for Coaching Conversations. Y'all, I'm taking next week off because that's my business. So there will be none next week, but I might do a replay of something. But Tasha, thank you so much for joining us. Y'all, thank y'all for joining us and have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.
Bye.